Do you know what you really, really, really love? In other words, do you know what your values are? What's number 1, number 2, number 3? If you don't know what you love, if you don't know what you value, if you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything. If you don't know what you love, you'll settle for less. It'll kill off your happiness and success. Up your defenses against mind binders. A mind binder is a little negative thing we tell ourselves over and over again. As long as you think negatively, talk to yourself negatively, you'll struggle all your life with passion. For example, I was speaking at an evening banquet meeting some time ago. Maybe 400 people in the audience. I'm at the head table. Finished the meal. In comes the waiter, picks up the dishes, walks through the exit door, crashed all the dishes on the floor. At that moment, he said something out loud. Can you guess what he said? Without swearing. He said, I knew I was going to do that. And thought to myself, why'd you pick up the dishes? We perform as we tell ourselves. I've seen this happen 1,000 times in programs over the years. People get a cup of coffee during break, bring the coffee in the room, put the coffee on the floor by their chair, and they'll say, now watch me spill this. What do you think they do? Spill it. You cannot talk to yourself negatively and expect positive passion, positive results. Which of those mind binders have you heard people say before? Or even tell yourself on occasion? Which ones? Tell the person next to you. Which ones have you heard before? Just help me out for a little bit. Which of those mind binders have you heard people say before? Yeah, probably all of them. Which ones most frequently? Number one. Can't remember names. How many have a hard time remembering names? People say to me, Alan, that is not negative thinking. It's just plain reality. It has nothing to do with reality. For example, your first name here is? Denny. Denny might say it's true, Alan, no good at names. I could say disagree, but you're an expert. I'll make you a deal. I'll pay you $100 for every name at this conference you learn between today, end of the conference. Every name you list, $100. But he would know lots of names, end of the conference. He'd get the registration list. He'd make flashcards. He'd skip sessions. Which tells me always had the ability, just didn't have the what? Yeah, motivation, right. Some of the work I do is called behavioral kinesiology. Some of you might know the research. It says that what you say to yourself, what you think in your head, will empower great passion and results or take it all away. Behavioral kinesiology. What I want you to do in a moment, Paul, is put your arms out to the side. Not yet. Okay. I'll put my hands on your wrists, I'll push down. Just resist with all your strength. I want to see how strong you are. Doesn't matter if I'm stronger, you're stronger. I want to catch that level of strength. Okay, out like that, please. And then resist. Yeah, that's pretty good. What I'll ask you to do in a moment, Paul, is to close your eyes. And I'll give you some mind binders, if you will, to tell yourself inside your head. May not be true, but just think them anyway. Okay. Can you do that? Mm-hmm. Close your eyes and tell yourself, Paul, that you're a loser. You're very mediocre. You just get by. You're not worth that much. You're not very smart. You're always goofing up. You'll never get ahead. You know you can't do it. You doubt yourself. Perhaps your spouse gets mad at you way too often. Your boss says you screwed up again. Tell yourself, I'm no good. I just can't do it. And open your eyes. Did you think some of those thoughts? Mm-hmm. Great. And put your arms back up. And same thing, just resist again. You ready? And resist. And you're trying, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you really? You don't know? Or
Well, I was trying.
Let's try and make sure.
Yeah.
No wimping out. Everything you got. Ready? And resist. And you see what happens. Not a trick or a gimmick. It takes 30 seconds to tell yourself something negative to kill off your energy, passion, motivation. People say, well, he's just getting tired from the first time, wearing out physically. Not physical, all psychological. Try this, Paul. Close your eyes again and tell yourself these comments. Tell yourself, I'm smart. I'm hardworking. I'm moving ahead. I have confidence. I believe in myself. I pursue excellence. I'm good at what I do. I believe in myself. I believe in others. I'm a winner. I'm a champ. I can do it. And open your eyes. You thought those comments? Put your arms up and same thing, resist all your strength again. Yeah, good. You see the difference. Would you thank him for being a good sport, please? Thanks Paul. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks. And repeat after me these comments. They may not be true, just say them anyway. So talkers, tell your partner, you're no good. You can't do it. You're a loser. You're past your prime. You're over the hill. You're ignorant. You're ugly. You'll never make it. You're a loser. You're a wash-up. You're a mistake. You can't do it. You're a loser. Check their arms again, please. Give them a push. Check the arms. Now, you'll get one of two responses. You'll get one of two responses. Curious which one you got. How many saw the arms get weaker? Those 10, 15 seconds got weaker. And consciously you know they don't mean it. Trouble is, subconscious doesn't know. And this is a critical point. Your subconscious mind is an information processor, not a truth detector. What it hears, it believes, acts accordingly. Anybody's arms stay as strong as the first time? That'll happen to 2, 3 folks because they learned from Paul what to do. As they're saying, I'm no good, they're saying, oh yes I am, I'm cool, I can do it. Can do that, should think that. One more time, face your partner. Same talkers, repeat after me. Tell them, I'm glad you're here. I believe in you. You're a hard worker. You can manage. You can lead. You're smart. You're cool. You're the best. You're excellent. You're a winner. Keep it up. You can do it. You're great. You're a winner. Check their arms again, please. Good. Great. You might know the classic study we did at 3M. We spent $1 million, 3 years of time, trying to research how people talk in the average workplace. Went to all these companies, big and small, public, private, sat in the background, listened to people talk. Came to 2 conclusions. The first one, it takes 7 compliments to overcome the effect of 1 piece of negative feedback. Think about that. Get criticized once, it takes 7 compliments to build you up again. For example, if I went over here, the lady in the blue sweater, your first name is?
Margaret.
Barbara?
Margaret.
Margaret. If I said, Margaret, I'm just curious, where did you get that disgusting looking outfit? Yeah. I'm teasing. You look fine. That's one. But if you thought I meant that, you wouldn't feel good about me embarrassing you, right? Or wouldn't feel good about the outfit. Ever buy a new piece of clothing, work for the first time, and someone says to you, where'd you get that? And for a long time, you don't feel comfortable wearing it. It takes about 7 compliments. But the second thing 3M found was this: in the average workplace, I don't know if your business is average or not, but in the average workplace, people hear 9 times as much griping as they do positive talk. 9 times as much. If there's truth in that, no wonder there are troubles and stress. We're out there working, doing fairly well. Hear mostly negative comments. In fact, the #1 job complaint, you all know what it is. I hear it every day in some organization. Number one job complaint, you can do 100 things right and not hear a darn thing about it. One thing wrong, they're right in your back. Have you heard that before? Which is the dumbest way of managing, leading anybody. We're out there working, doing fairly well, no one says a word, one mistake, jump in our case. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but in the last number of years, I've been close to 1 million people in programs. I've not heard one person tell me they've gone home, end of a day's work, and said, can't stand my job anymore, headed up to here. All I hear on the job are compliments, compliments, compliments. Yeah, they love me over there. Nobody complains about that. But it's not just work that's negative. Our whole culture has negativity running through it. I mentioned in the previous session, I do this 5-day retreat every year for CEOs of organizations. And I ask these CEOs this question. When you go home at night, how do you relax? What would you guess is the number one answer for execs to relax in the evening? Drink is a good guess. That's number 2. Number 1, they watch TV. In particular, they watch the evening news to relax. I ask you a simple question. When's the last time you watched the news and felt good about the world? Almost always negative news. Even the weather is negatively reported. They might say tomorrow, 20% chance of rain, which really means, or might say partly cloudy, which means most sunny. I don't know if they do this in Minnesota. I think they do. I used to live here. I've moved away since some years ago. But in some states, they change the weather report to make it even more negative in the wintertime. They no longer say it's 15 degrees above zero, it's 22 below zero with... Now, isn't that a blessing? Make it as negative as possible. But what I thought was the strangest, 8-10 years ago, I'm in Scottsdale. Never been there before. Heard about these beautiful Arizona sunsets. I finished my talk one evening. Well, it's at the convention hall. Gorgeous sunset. I turned to the guy next to me and said, hey, look at the sunset. Isn't it beautiful? You know what he said? He said, I think the pinks are a little bright. That even God didn't get it quite right. In fact, complaining's almost become a national pastime. I'll give you a little takeaway. I've been right every place I've spoken so far. Look around any organization. You find the most negative employees always find each other. They have coffee breaks together, lunches together. It's called the daily pity party. And quite simply, there's too much negative talk in the workplace. Stress goes way up, work-life balance way down. Which of those killers have you heard people say before? All of them, right. Any ones in particular you've heard most often? Not my job, right, the battle cry of the loser. Don't have enough help, right. And the spiritual, develop an attitude of gratitude. Attitude of gratitude. You see, I mentioned the negativity causes the stress. But the natural antidote to stress is gratitude. The more grateful you are, less negative you can be. I've been awesomely blessed, but I used to be such a negative person. I gripe about this, gripe about that. Don't like this situation, I have to work too hard, that's not fair, who do they think they are? My wake-up call that changed all of that around was my first trip to Thailand. I spent the last 15 years, Thanksgiving week, in Bangkok, Thailand, and throughout the country, doing leadership programs for the airlines there. My first trip, though, was not to teach, it was to help. In the middle 1980s, as you remember, the Khmer Rouge killing millions of folks in Cambodia and Laos, running to Thailand to save their lives. I sat in those refugee camps, listening to folks talk about their stories of escape, and trying to find them a place that they might live in the future. All folks want to go home, but if home means your head gets chopped off, where can you live safely? I came back from those refugee camps to my home in Prior Lake, Minnesota, and realized I had kids who were complaining about having to unload the dishwasher. Like that was a major task in life. To let them know that some folks don't have dishes, let alone food, let alone dishwashers, to cut the griping and start the appreciating. And I wasn't the best role model. We began taking our kids to South Minneapolis to feed the homeless, volunteering in nursing homes to practice an attitude of gratitude. A simple takeaway for you today. Get out sometime by yourself in a park, take a walk, and 1,000 times say out loud, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, 1,000 times. And what'll happen? When stress comes into your life, something you're thankful for will pop back in, neutralize the negativity. Attitude of gratitude. Refrain from what I call negative self-talk. Think of one lady who changed her whole life, her whole career, using just this one strategy. She was 37 years of age, lived her whole life on welfare. Besides being poor, she had one more problem. She was ugly. I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm not putting her down. But she kept saying out loud, I'm so ugly, never get a husband. So ugly, never get a job. Nobody wants me. So feeling that way, talking that way, stayed away from people. Her one job on occasion was scrubbing floors, apartment buildings. 37 years go by, she gets fed up. Buys a book called The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. She read the book, believed the book, but she didn't get pretty. Book said, you want success in life? Quit looking at your weaknesses, that you're unattractive. Don't compare to the glamour girls of Hollywood, that's dead end. Instead, take a piece of paper. Write down all your strengths and talents and blessings, write them down. She was so depressed, took her 3 days, got a list about that long. Couldn't think of any good things. Then the book said, once you know your strengths, don't sit on them, use them. One strength jumped off the page. It was sense of humor. 20 years before, back in high school, the kid said, you're funny, you can make us laugh, you're funny. And thought to herself, how to use your sense of humor to change your life. Got an idea. When she was done scrubbing floors, go on the local tavern, tell the folks a few jokes, they might laugh at her jokes, might give her $1 for tip once in a while. Did that, did pretty well. She went on to tell jokes for years and years, making millions and millions. Of course, you're guessing, who is that? Ever hear of Phyllis Diller, who just died a couple years ago in her middle 90s, who never even began her career until 37 years of age and stopped the negative self-talk. The first female to break the so-called glass ceiling in the world of comedy. What we need to be careful of is what I call mind binders. It's a little negative we tell ourselves over and over again. As long as you talk that way, you'll have too much stress and not enough balance. For example, I saw this some time ago. Speaking at an evening banquet speech, I'm at the head table eating the meal. In comes a waiter, picks up all the dishes, goes to the exit door, crashed all the dishes on the floor. At that moment, he said something out loud. Can you guess what he said? Without swearing. He said, I knew I was going to do that. Then thought to myself, why'd you pick up the dishes? We perform as we tell ourselves. I've seen this happen 100 times in programs over the years. We'll have a break. People get a cup of coffee during the break. Bring the coffee in the room, put the coffee on the floor by their chair, and they'll say, now watch me spill this. And what do you think they do? Spill it. You cannot talk negatively and expect positive results. And this is a key point. Your subconscious mind is an information processor, not a truth detector. What you tell yourself it believes acts accordingly. One more time. Same folks, repeat out loud after me. Say out loud, I like myself. I'm capable. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I'm a winner. I'm a professional. I'm cool. I'm calm. I'm effective. I'm a winner. I'm a champ. I can do it. I'm the best. Check their arms again, please. Good, good. Great, great, great. You can sit back down. Good, good. Of course, you see the arms get stronger again. The lesson is very simple, but extremely important. This first key, if you're going to have more work-life balance and less stress in your profession or your personal life, cannot tell yourself negative comments and expect good results. I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. Or I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And I know they make fun of this on Saturday Night Live, but they're dead wrong. Every winning Olympic athlete and great coach tells you what you put in here affects what comes out there. Take time to talk to yourself positively. I think of George Haynes, Santa Clara, California. Great swimming coach. A while ago being interviewed, on the wall behind him, 44 gold medal winners on his teams, plus dozens of bronze and silver medals. He said, I'm sorry, the plaques are out of date. Literally winning plaques so fast, medals so fast, they couldn't make them fast enough. But here's the catch. He didn't do like some teams do, first draft choice, biggest contracts of money. Only swimmers ever in his teams, the local kids in the neighborhood, the freebies, that he transformed into world champs. How he changed their self-esteem. Sort of watch those kids come out of the locker room. He'd be run, run, splash into the pool, run, run, splash into the pool. He'd run alongside them saying, come on, baby, you're a great one. 3 seconds faster. I believe in you. You're a champ. You're the best. You can do it. You think those kids would come out of the locker room and say, darn, coach. Sick and tired of positive thinking. Gag me, turns me off. That's how some kids talk, as you know. But not his kids. They'd come out of the pool end of a tournament. They'd hug this man. They'd thank him for this gift of self-esteem he implanted. He had 5-year-old kids believing they grow up and become world record setters, and they did time after time. Because the catch was, he taught them to affirm themselves the same way he affirmed them. They'd be saying all day long, I'm a winner, I'm a champ, I'm the best, I can do it. They said it, believed it, achieved it. If you're not spending 3 minutes a day talking to yourself positively, you're missing a tremendously powerful tool. You see, smart folks do a physical workout each day, but also mental workout. Put the right thoughts in to get the right results out. See something positive in every situation. I don't believe life is totally good or bad, black or white. Any situation, even a rotten situation, always has something good in it. If you can see the positive, you maintain the attitude, less stress. For example, some years ago, we had something called the Iran hostage crisis. Do you remember that? When America was locked up for 444 days, the highest ranking official military was Colonel Chuck Scott. He thought he was CIA, a spy, which he wasn't. But one of the other hostages was a stool pigeon. And said, Chuck is the spy, knows everything, so he fingered Chuck to save his own skin. As a result, they gave him more torture than anybody else. When they released the hostages, came back to America, I spent 2 days with them. Chuck's a friend of mine. Lives in Atlanta, Georgia these days. We talked about the interrogation techniques, the torture techniques. What caught my attention, he said, Alan, that was the best experience of my lifetime. I said, what? He said, don't misinterpret me. I'm not a masochist. I don't enjoy pain. I don't want to be tortured again. But I realized when I go back to American soil, if I can make it through Iran, I can make it through anything. I no longer worry whether you like me or dislike me. There are millions of folks to connect with out there in the world. Doesn't matter if it's hot outside, cold, raining, or snowing. How dare I complain about the weather? I'm alive to live it. That's what counts. He said, if worst came to worst, if I went bankrupt, lost everything I had, I'd go to McDonald's. They're always hiring. I'd get a job and start over. In other words, he saw Iran as a test. He passed the test and built a strong, positive attitude. Other folks who went through Iran are still mad it's going to be a President Carter, American government, didn't do this, didn't do that. And they messed up the rest of their lifetime. Can you see something positive in every situation? Maybe you have a coworker, a superintendent, a school board member, a parent who just gets you sometimes. Oh, they're so obnoxious, they just get you, oh, they drive you crazy. Can you see the positive in that? A person just gets you, might motivate you to go to a bookstore and buy a book called Coping with Difficult People. And you practice on them. Nothing to lose. The books say, here's step 1, step 2, and the techniques work. But some folks won't read the books. They'll complain for 5 years. They drive me crazy when it could be a learning opportunity. See the positive and maintain the attitude. I saw my wife do this with such elegance a few years ago. Sat by her dad's bed at the VA hospital in Minneapolis as he died of cancer. It wasn't fun. She was there 3, 4, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, weeks on end. But one time before he died, one time his entire life, he turned to her once before he died and said he loved her. And of course, important to hear at least once in life and hopefully many times to see the positive and maintain the attitude. I watched my oldest daughter, who's now a special education teacher out in Denver, the slummy parts, real tough neighborhood. When she was about 9, 10, going through a negative period, always complaining, don't like school, don't like my teacher, don't have many toys, don't have many friends, and life is boring. Ever have a kid like that? Try to be a positive parent, have a negative kid. I was living in a town called North Mankato, Minnesota at the time, which may mean nothing to some of you. As you perhaps know, some of you, there are two towns. There's Mankato, across the river, North Mankato. Rather creative naming. Used to be, go across the bridge to the other side, you had trains stopping you for 30 minutes to be a hassle. Picked up from school one day, we're driving down the car, how comes there are complaints? Yeah. I got sick of it. I said, Shelley, life is not that bad. There's always something good. Look for the good from now on, tell me that. I no more had said that, and the train stopped us right across the bridge. Looked at me and she said, what's so good about that? And I didn't know. I learned a long time ago, if you're a teacher, you don't know the answer, you can always say, why don't you think about it for a little while? And maybe you can think of the answer. Works pretty well, there's 6 or 7. She sat down in the car, she was thinking for a moment. She jumped up and said, I know what's good about this. I said, what? I can talk to you a little bit longer. I said, you're right, you got it. And I went, whew. When I thought about it. Of course, she was right. Had it been a normal afternoon, I would have gone in the house, done some work. She would have gone inside, or I would have gone inside, she would have gone outside, played with a friend. To see something positive in every situation, you see the positive and maintain the attitude. And the person who said this the best, I think is a hero to all of us in this room. Without him, we'd all be speaking German today. In other words, thank God for Winston Churchill. Held back the Nazis long enough until we as Americans got in that war and finished the thing off. Churchill put it this way, the optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. The pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. You see the positive and maintain the attitude. She'd say, well, yeah, there are tour groups, but you never know the weirdos you meet in those groups. A couple times, almost had her convinced to go. She said, well, if I were to go, what would happen if the furnace went out? That could happen. Or maybe the pipes would freeze, or who'd pick up the mail? Do any of you know people like that? Who live their whole lives in a comfort zone? You can like them, you can love them. She was a nice, sweet lady, but you don't respect them very much. Respect those who take a risk, who go for bigger and better in their lives, personally, professionally, taking the risk. And you might know the classic study we did at 3M. We spent $1 million, 3 years of time on this big research project. They're curious, how do people talk in the average workplace in America? They went to big companies, small, public, private, all types of industry. Sat in the background, listened to people talk. Came to 2 conclusions. The first one, it takes 7 compliments to overcome the effect of 1 piece of negative feedback. Think about that. You criticize once, take 7 positives to build it back up again. If I went over here, the lady, your first name again is? Rita. If I said, Rita, I'm just curious, where did you get that disgusting looking outfit? No, I'm teasing, you look fine. That's 1. But if you thought I meant that, you wouldn't feel good about me embarrassing you, right? Or wouldn't feel good about the outfit. Ever buy a new piece of clothing, wear it for the first time, and someone says to you, where'd you get that? And for a long time, you don't feel comfortable wearing it. It takes about 7 compliments. But the second thing 3M found was this, in the average workplace, and from what I can tell, you're a great deal better than average. But in the average workplace, people hear 9 times as much griping as they do positive talk. 9 times as much. If there's truth in that, no wonder there are troubles in customer intimacy, motivation, teamwork. We're out there working, doing fairly well, and hear mostly negative comments. In fact, the #1 job complaint, you all know what it is. I hear it every day in some organization. #1 job complaint, you can do 100 things right and not hear a darn thing about it. 1 thing wrong, they're right in your back. Have you heard that before? Which is the dumbest way of motivating, managing anybody. We're out there working, doing fairly well, no one says a word. 1 mistake, jump on our case. Now, I don't know. may have been naive, but in the last 20, 30 years, as Tom said, had almost 1 million people in programs. Haven't heard one person tell me they've gone home end of a day's work, complained to their husband or wife and said, can't stand my job anymore, headed up to here. All I hear on the job are compliments, compliments, compliments. Yeah, they love me over there. My first trip there. Heard about these beautiful Arizona sunsets. Finished my talk one evening. Went outside the convention hall. Gorgeous sunset. I turned to the guy next to me. I said, look at the sunset. Isn't it beautiful? You know what he said? He said, I think the pinks are a little bright. That even God didn't get it quite right. The complaining's almost become a national pastime. I'll give you a little research assignment. I've been right every place I've spoken so far. Look around any organization. You'll find the most negative employees always find each other. They have coffee breaks together, lunches together. It's called the daily pity party. And quite simply, there's too much negative talk in the workplace. This attitude thing gets killed off at the very beginning of partnership or customer intimacy. For example, you go to some coworker and say, I'd like your help on this project. And the person says, that's not my... You feel put down or pushed aside. You go to somebody else and say, I have an idea for improving things. And they say, oh, we've never done that kind of thing before. Oh, we've always done it like this. We tried that back in 2012. On occasion, those can be legitimate comments. But most of the time they're said to shut people up, back off, and don't rock the boat. The price of too many killer statements, quite simply, is killed off attitude. Let's work on this. Would you stand up, please? And the question is this. The question is, of those killer statements on page 9 and 10, which of the killers have you heard people say before? I don't care if it's Johnson Bank, someplace else. Which ones have you heard before? Talk to your partner, please. Help me out. Which of those killers have you heard people say before? Yeah, probably heard all of them. Which ones have you heard most often? Number 15 says, don't have enough help.
I say that.
You said that, yes. Other ones you've heard quite a bit.
That's not my job.
Not my job. Another one might be, 19 says, don't have the authority. Often think to myself, if we're going to be negative, at least be efficient. Give the list to everybody in the organization. Whenever they bring up a new idea, say, look at the list. 12, 22, 41, just quote numbers and save time. Repeat after me. Tell them, I'm glad you're here. I believe in you. You're a winner. You're the best. You're a champ. You're cool. You're excellent. You're great. You can do it. You're a winner. You're the best. You can do it. You're the best. Check their arms again, please. Yeah, good. Good. Great. You can sit back down. The lesson is very simple but extremely important. If you're working with people who are whining, griping, complaining, come across those folks in your marketplace, at home, wherever. Maybe you're married to them, I don't know. But if you're around people who are whining, complaining, what I'm trying to say as strongly as I can, do not let their garbage become your destiny. Must do exactly as Ryan taught you. Tell yourself some counteracting positives. And one simple takeaway I would suggest, I've seen it do miraculous things in organizations. Take those 50 killer statements, those 2 pages back to work. Give everybody a copy of that on your team. Next time you have a meeting, challenge every folk to not use one single one of those comments. He turned to his friend and said, I don't understand what happened back there. Can I ask you some questions? Friend said, sure. He says, that guy always acts so negatively? He said, yeah, every day. He said, you always treat him that nicely. He said, yes, of course. Which brought the third most crucial question, which was what? Why? Why do you treat him that nicely when that's the way he treats you all the time? This marvelous answer comes back. He said, I don't want him to decide how I'm going to behave. He said, I'm an actor, not a reactor. He says 85% test out as reactors in this country. They don't think, just react. If you'll choose to be an actor, that 15%, and it's a choice, most will follow along. Be an actor, not a reactor. Can you see something positive in every situation? You may have a coworker that just gets you once in a while. Oh, they just get you. They're so obnoxious, they get you. Can you see the positive in that? A person that just gets you might motivate you to go to a bookstore and buy a book called Coping with Difficult People. And you practice on them, nothing to lose. The books say, here's step 1, step 2, and the techniques work. But some folks won't read the books, just complain for 5 years. They drive me crazy when it could be a learning opportunity. You see the positive, you maintain the attitude. The person might say, yeah, in which case I'd feel pretty good. Even if the person said, no, I could respect myself for the courage to try. That's how you always gave me to think positively instead of negatively. You reject mind binders. And I put in your handout a couple dozen common mind binders. There are thousands of them. A person might say, I can't make a cold call. I can't close that sale. I can't quit smoking. I can't lose weight. I can't give a speech. I can't deal with that. I'm no good at such and such. And they're right. As long as they think that way, talk that way, they'll always fail in those areas. Simply can't tell yourself mind binders and expect positive, persistent behavior. They have a great definition of whining coworkers. I love their definition. She said, whining is anger coming through too small of a hole. But yeah, that describes some people. For example, I eat a lot of meals on the road. I look forward to a nice meal in the evening. I stopped at this one restaurant. I asked the waiter what he recommended. He gave me the name of 2 other restaurants. I went, whoa, when he said, gotcha. I'll give you good service, you'll be happy. And of course, I liked him more, you got a bigger tip. Putting fun in the workplace.